I was getting ready to take care of it because I had enough time and money set aside.
When were you planning on taking care of it? And the reason why I asked that is because it appears to the court that, but for this jaywalking, you never would have come in.
This case opens with a defendant who disappeared from probation for years, and now the court has to decide whether this is a story of real change or long overdue consequences finally catching up with him.
All right, the court is calling 2017 CR 5709 State versus Michael Bissett. Can I have parties announced for the record?
Melissa Albin for the state.
Charles Blunt for Mr. Bissett.
And are you Mr. Bissett?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you review the document entitled Motion to Enter Adjudication of Guilt and Revoke Community Supervision and State's motion to supplement pending motion to enter adjudication of guilt and revoke probation with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you the same Michael Bissett who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2017 CR 5709 for the offense of aggravated assault, serious bodily injury on August 24th, 2017 for a period of 5 years? Is that you?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, state.
The state is going to proceed on a few of the violations, Your Honor. The third, number 2, on or about the first day of June 2018 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Michael Bissett, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True, Your Honor.
And on or about the 23rd day of February 2018 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Michael Bissett, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that?
True, Your Honor.
And on the next page, on or about the 26th day of January in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Michael Bissett, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that?
True, Your Honor.
Lastly, on or about the 18th day of October 2017 in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Michael Bissett, did then and there fail to submit to drug testing as directed by the court officer, supervision officer, and or a duly authorized agent of the court in violation of condition number 2.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True, Your Honor.
We'll waive the rest of them.
Any objections to the waivers?
Oh, I'm sorry, Your Honor. I forgot that there's a supplemental.
Yes.
So I withdraw that statement and I'd like to read a couple more from the supplemental.
Okay.
Number 5, in Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Michael Bissett, did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of July, August, September, October, November, and December of 2018 in violation of condition number 5.
How do you plead to that?
True, Your Honor.
And we'll just go to the last one. In Bexar County, Texas, the defendant, Michael Bissett, did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of January, February, March, April, May, and June of 2022 in violation of condition number 5.
How do you plead to that?
True, Your Honor.
And we'll waive the rest.
Any objections?
No.
Did you understand by pleading true to 2, 2, 2, 2, 5, and 5? The court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, and sentence you up to 20 years in the prison and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, sir.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to 2, 2, 2, 2, 5, and 5?
Yes, Your Honor.
Then the court will find the following true: 2, 2, 2, 2, 5, and 5. Is there a proposed agreement?
There is not, Your Honor. We're asking for revocation and for the court to sentence him to TDC. Mr. Funk is going to ask for something different.
Yes.
I am Judge. And I'd like to, for the purpose of this hearing, I'd like to call my client as a witness.
All right, can you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
My name is Michael Daniel Bissett.
All right, you may proceed.
Okay, Mr. Bissett, you've heard the district attorney read off multiple violations that you had of your probation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And those violations all occurred, some of them back as far back as 2018.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes.
then some of them were back in 2022 when you stopped reporting to probation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you actually stopped reporting to probation prior to 2022. That's, I don't want to mislead the court. You stopped reporting to probation when?
I believe it was July 2018.
Okay. So let's talk about what happened in 2018 and why did you at that time stop reporting to probation?
I had gotten a positive urine analysis test, and I got scared and didn't report after that.
And since then, let's talk about what changes, if any, have you made in your life, good or bad? And just kind of tell the court, you know,
John, Your Honor, a lot has happened since then. I quit drinking completely. I don't do any sort of illicit drugs or anything like that anymore. If I were to submit to your analysis today, I could pass your analysis with flying colors. I've started my own business, a landscaping business. It's doing very well, very profitable. During that time, one of my children has gotten sick. She had cancer when she was little, and it came back over the past couple of years, and it just got really, really bad. And so she's terminal right now, and so it's been very tough with that. And but I try to just go day to day, trying to make sure she's okay, make sure that my ex-wife and the children who are still with her are okay, and I pay for all of their needs and everything. I'd like to think of myself as a pillar of the community. I try to help my fellow man boost himself up and not bring anybody down. I do free jobs for people that need them. I believe that if I was to remain in the community, that I can continue this effort to help everybody else around me as well, in turn lifting myself up. I think that's a positivity for everybody, and I'm very, very proud of myself for that.
and you and I've discussed, you know, kind of when it comes to probation, the one thing that's easy for everyone to do is just to show up. I mean, it doesn't cost anything to show up,
Yes,
and you stopped.
yes,
And as I understand it, the reason you stopped was because you knew you were going, at that time, you were going to be dirty and you were afraid you were going to get arrested.
yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
And
And the pandemic happened, and just one day turned into the next day, and turned the next day, and just
now you
I have no
think,
excuse. I have no excuse for that.
and you're not here you're not here today to make
Absolutely.
excuses. You've come and you've told them.
La primera fila,
Oh,
la tercera fila, first row, second chair. Red, orange, up. Red, red. Keep moving, orange, orange.
All right, you may continue.
Thank you, Judge. And when you and I met, I guess it was several weeks ago,
Make sure there's an empty chair.
we discussed that, you know, the judge, of course, she's been in the business, if you will, for many, many years.
Yes, sir.
She's heard, you know, I don't want to say a sob story, but
Navarro?
she's heard this type of thing a lot. And she has to be able to make a decision on whether or not you're being honest with her and truthful with her. Now, you mentioned that if you were to take a UA today,
Yes.
you'd be clean.
Yes, I would.
And I think that's important. And how is it that, at what point in your life did you realize that you had to turn your life around? And what was it that kind of helped you? What was the impetus to that?
When I realized that I needed to fix this and not look over my shoulder anymore, for not just for myself, but for my children, my family, for my personal well-being, and accountability, most of all. I served in the military for 7 years in the Army and in the Navy. I served overseas, and during that time, honor, courage, and commitment, and those are big things that I think they're a big part of my life. And I can't call myself honorable if I don't take care of this like I'm supposed to. And I have to have the courage to do it, and the commitment to stand by it.
The judge was, you know, she has lots of things. She could, first thing, obviously, she can tell you, I appreciate your honesty, but you blew it. You know,
Yes, sir.
and she could easily just have you go where they came from. And
Yes, sir.
dress you in one of those fancy outfits and take you to jail, send you to prison. She could give you the chance to perhaps get back on probation, you know, take the drug test, you know, prove to her that you are this person that you say you are.
Yes, sir.
There's lots of things she could do. If she gave you those chances, would you welcome that opportunity and prove to her that you are this changed person?
Yes, sir, I would. I put myself at the mercy of the court.
Is there anything else? The letter we gave to her, who was that letter?
From my wife.
And is she present here today? Is
Yes, sir, she's.
there anything else you'd like to tell her?
I'm ready to face this like I should have done a long time ago. As I said, I put myself at the mercy of the court and the mercy of you, Judge. Thank you for hearing me out.
That's all I have, Judge. And if you have any questions, we certainly don't object. And certainly, and of course, the
Yes.
state as well. I'm sorry.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Bissett, I have a few questions for you.
Yes.
You said that you have a child that's sick. I'm very sorry to hear that. How old is that child?
She's now 18.
18. And so does she live with you?
She lives with my ex-wife,
Okay. And where does your ex-wife live?
here in San Antonio.
Okay. So are you involved, I guess, in her care and
100%.
her doctor's appointments and all those things?
Yes.
Okay. And does your ex-wife, is she employed?
Yes, she has a cleaning business. that she
Okay,
does.
so she is able to earn money and support your children.
She does, but not enough to pay for all the bills. My veteran money goes towards all of that.
Okay. Is there health insurance that's involved in
Yes,
the care?
TRICARE.
And now you mentioned your military service.
Yes.
Were you honorably discharged?
Yes,
or-
I was.
So, I mean, I'm very sorry to hear about that, obviously. But where have you been for the last
Here in San
several
Antonio.
years? You've just been in San Antonio.
Yes, ma'am.
And it never entered your mind to turn yourself in, 2 years after you stopped reporting, 3 years after you stopped reporting,
It
4
did.
years after
Every
you
day.
stopped reporting?
Every day, dude, I was scared. I didn't want to go back to jail because everything that was going on. And
Would you have been dirty during those times?
No.
So when did you get clean?
About 6 months after I stopped reporting, when I found out my daughter was sick. I stopped everything. It stopped my life dead in its tracks. Quit. I had no choice.
Obviously you have a criminal history.
Yes.
So I know that the court is going to be interested to know about that. You're on probation currently for aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury, which you pled guilty to. And when that happened, you had already been convicted of family violence
Yes, ma'am.
3 times?
Yes,
Is that fair? Okay. Do you recall being on probation for an assault family in 2006 and then your probation was revoked?
yes.
Okay. And it was revoked because you picked up another assault family and then you got convicted on that one as well?
I believe that's what happened. I'm not sure. It was
Okay.
a long time ago.
You were sentenced on the same day for them, which
Okay.
is why it looks like that. And the offense date on the second one is while you were on probation for the first one. And then you also had a subsequent assault causing bodily injury to a family member that was filed as a felony in 2014, but wound up getting pled down to a misdemeanor. Do you remember that? Okay. And so you were convicted of that in 2016, and then that leads us to the offense that you're here for today. So, what has changed in your life? Obviously, you have a history of a propensity for violence, and you're saying that's not true anymore.
No.
So what has changed in your life that has gotten that out of your system?
My children are watching. They're watching me. And I can't be that same person. I'm not the same person.
Besides your 18-year-old, how many other kids do you have?
I have eight in total, accounting stepchildren. They range in age from 20 down to 12.
20 to 12?
Yeah.
12 is the youngest? So all of these children have, minus the offenses that occurred in the early 2000s,
Mm.
all of these children have been alive while you were committing these other offenses.
I didn't know my stepchildren at the time, but yes, they were alive.
Nothing further.
Any follow-up?
And
I have questions. So you were placed on probation before my time, because this is from 2017. I see in the stipulations as a part of the plea, there was to be restitution to the complainant. Does anybody know if there was actual restitution ordered and whether that restitution was paid?
To Mr. Hearn?
Yes.
Mr. I don't believe he ever showed up to claim restitution. He was. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't believe so.
Ms. Abrams, do you know whether or not there was restitution due for the complainant, Mr. Hearn? All right. So how did you come to be arrested for this motion to revoke?
Jaywalking.
People should always follow the law.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, but for the jaywalking, you never would have come in.
I was, you're right, Your Honor. It looks like that, but I was getting ready to take care of it because I had enough time and money set aside.
When were you planning on taking care of it? Because, and the reason why I asked that is because it appears to the court that but for this jaywalking, you never would have come in.
Yes, Your Honor. I agree. It does look like that. I planned on doing it after Christmas, to be honest. It's just because my daughter was sick, I didn't want to get locked up and something happened to her. And I would never be able to forgive myself if something happened to her. I'd been locked up.
Okay. All right. Probation, what is the recommendation? All right. Any objections to the court reviewing the court summary? Okay. Thank you. All right, so other concerns, you know what's listed here?
No,
It said a supplemental report was sent to the court in regards to the probationer continually testing positive for methamphetamines and failing to provide a UA. TAP assessment was conducted, which recommended the probationer submit to random urinalysis. A TAP revision was made for the probationer to be recommended to the intensive outpatient treatment. So it says the probation then absconded once the MTR was filed upon not abiding by the conditions of the court. So it appears here that the previous judge, which I think would have been maybe, would that have been Hilbig or Angelini?
Angelini.
Hilbig,
Yeah, Angelini.
in
Angelini.
2000 and
17.
Joey, wasn't it?
Yes. All right,
Okay.
so according to this, if you would have came in, they were just going to recommend intensive outpatient treatment.
He has asked if he could make one more statement to the court.
Sure.
Your Honor, if I'm to be incarcerated 2 months after I'm incarcerated, my VA payment pay would stop, and the insurance for my kids would stop, the health insurance, and I would really like to try to avoid that somehow, but I don't know what it is that I can do for the court to keep that going. I'm not sure how that would be possible.
All right, so what I'm going to tell you is I understand the reasons why you wouldn't return. And Mr. Blanc will tell you, we've all had clients who, one thing happens and they just decide not to show up. Then at the last minute, they want to show up, they got their life together, and sometimes the hands are tied. I take into consideration the fact that you have a child, but what I can tell you is nobody's seen you. And that's one of the things you have to do is report. All right. So I'm gonna grant the motion and the court will find you guilty. Does anyone wish to speak toward sentence?
Well, I'd ask that you sentence him 2 years.
Mhm.
But most importantly, if it's at all possible, I'd ask that you allow him, if there's any way to remain out on the monitor. His daughter is terminal with the stage 4 cancer, and if he loses his insurance, there's nobody to pay for it.
Mhm.
And that's, I don't know, I know it's a big ask,
Well, so
but is there any way we can at least allow him to turn himself in after his insurance? I'm very concerned about his daughter's medical expense. That's the cost of cancer care in America is.
oh, I know,
overwhelming.
yeah.
And if you lose, if that insurance is not available for this poor girl's, there's nobody to pay for the hospice or anything else. So I'm asking for 2 years, which is the minimum, and he understands that's a possibility, but if my bigger concern right now is this 2-month period. So if there's anything we can do, if you want him to report to this court in person every week or every other day or every day,
I'd be willing to do
he'll
that.
come to court every day. Anything we can do to appease the court in the interim, I'm just asking the court for that
State.
on his behalf.
I understand the ask. I haven't seen any medical records, but I don't think that they would lie about this. So I'm fine with that if the court's fine with that.
Well, the laws have changed, and let me just tell you how the laws have changed. The laws have changed that if somebody's only option is prison, then I have to take them into custody to go to prison. However, if there is no objection to the court finding violation of conditions 2, 2, 2, 2, 5, and 5 true, and rescinding the finding of guilt and thinking about what the court will do in sentencing him at a later date, then the court can do that.
That would be fine with us if we could put him on monitor in the meantime.
All right, so the record is clear. Both parties have given the court something to consider in deciding on whether or not the defendant should be revoked or not. And you have given me something in addition to what the court already was informed of. So would there be any objections to the court finding violations 2, 2, 2, 2, 5, and 5 true, and thinking about what an appropriate sentence would be?
No, Your Honor.
No, Judge.
And so the record is clear, and it is clear for the legislatures that because the court, without objection, is not finding the defendant guilty, then there are options. The court could deny the motion and terminate the defendant unsatisfactorily, or the court could sentence him to prison. So with that being said, the court is going to take under advisement both parties' recommendations. But I am going to require that he be on GPS. And we will set this for the court to make its decision in the new year.
Yes, Your Honor.
So if I'm still here, I'll make that decision. If I'm not here, somebody else may make the decision. You understand?
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. All right, Normie, can you give me a date, late January, please? All right.
Yes, he's on GPS. So he's already on GPS.
All right, and what are the conditions of his GPS?
It's a partial for work and for medical appointment.
All right, so he's going to continue on GPS as a condition of bond for medical and employment only. All right, Ms. Ferguson, if you'll give him a reset form.
Thank you, Judge.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Here you are.
Have a good day, Your Honor.
You too.
Have a seat. Morning, Bill.
Good morning. Court is calling 2025 CR 001641, State versus James Edward Kellogg. Can I have parties announce?
State.
Sean Sheffield for defense, Your Honor. We're ready.
And are you Mr. Kellogg? Did you review the document entitled Motion to Revoke Community Supervision with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes.
Are you the same James Edward Kellogg who was placed on community supervision in 2025 CR 001641 for the offense of evading arrest, detention with a previous conviction on April 17th, 2025 for a term of 3 years? Is that you?
Yes, Your Honor.
State?
Violated condition number 4 in Bear County, Texas. The defendant, James Edward Kellogg, did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of May and June 2025 in violation of condition number 4.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
I'm sorry?
Not true. Not true.
Not true?
True.
True.
Sorry, Your
Oh,
Honor.
that's okay. So you can either plead true or not true. If you plead not true, because we're set for a contested hearing today, we will go forward. If you plead true, then that means that you're saying, yes, the allegation in the motion, I admit that I did not report. Do you understand?
Yes.
Then state if you'll reread the violation for the record.
Violated condition number 4 in Bear County, Texas. The defendant, James Edward Kellogg, did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of May and June 2025 in violation of condition number.
How do you plead to that?
True.
State,
State will waive and abandon the remaining violations.
any objections?
No, Your Honor.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 4, the court could find it true, grant the motion, and sentence you up to 2 years in the state jail facility? Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4? Court will find violation of condition number 4 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
Yes, Your Honor, the proposed agreement is to grant state's motion and sentence to 16 months in Bear, I'm sorry, in the state jail facility, and then state will also take into consideration cause number 2025 CR 0109 and 2025 CR 0109.
All right, I'm sorry. Could you repeat that? 2021?
I'm sorry, 2025
Mhm.
CR 010938.
Yes.
2025 CR 010939.
All right. Oh, that's okay. That's for the court reporter. All right, counsel, is there a reason I should not sentence him to 2 years?
Judge, we're just asking the court to follow that recommendation. We understand the court does not have to, but we're just asking to give him an opportunity, Your Honor. He is just asking for that opportunity.
All right, what have you done since you've been on probation? You want to raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
James Edward Kellogg.
All right, what have you done since you've been on probation? Other than, because they're taking some cases into consideration. Were these cases alleged to have been committed after he was placed on probation?
After, yes, Your Honor. However, I will let the court know that we were going to fight them if we needed to, Your Honor.
Okay. So what have you done?
To be honest, I was, when I got the probation a few months back when they gave it to me, they had an address for Austin, Texas, Cesar Chavez in Austin, Texas, which was a half of outside of that in 1995.
Mhm.
They asked me for an address. I was only the person that I was getting mailing instructions.
So you didn't pick up the phone and call anybody? Why not?
The question that waiting for mail instructions, I gave him the address here.
You mentioned halfway house. Have you been on parole before?
Yes,
So you know how it works.
yes,
And you know you're supposed to reach out and contact people. And you know that if they don't have the address that they have is the last address that perhaps you've given them, right?
yes, and that wouldn't be the address they had on it.
Well, didn't a probation officer go over conditions with you?
Yes,
And you're telling me they didn't ask for your address?
did. And I
And-
gave them my address here that I've been on parole, and I was under the impression that they were gonna give me reporting instructions when they prove that happens.
He felt that they had the new address, but they, I guess they did not. So there was issues there, Judge.
So I did give them a new address though before I left school.
All right. So what, are you saying that they never contacted you?
I was under the impression that they would give me mailing, I would give reporting instructions to the mail.
He's telling the court he is at fault. He
Yeah.
should have checked in,
Yes, sure.
but he didn't. And that's the reason why he didn't. But he understands he should have.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, see, what the reason why I'm asking these questions, because it appears to the court that you're saying you didn't know you had to report, or you didn't know where you had to report. And normally what ends up happening when people are on probation, they're giving their instructions of where to report. So did they tell you where to report, or did they not tell you where to report?
They told me they were,
And did you not? So they told you to report. Did they tell you where to report?
I was confused on how I was gonna get the reporting instructions. Am I guilty of not reporting May and June? Yes, I am.
No. Here's my question. Did they tell you where to report? That's either yes or no.
Yes, because I know where to report. I live
All right,
right
so-
down the street from
All right. So they told you where to report, and you say it's down the street from you,
their fault.
and you still didn't report. All right. So I'm just trying to clear up.
And Judge, that's as I stated, he's taking responsibility for that. He's telling the court he was, should have done more.
All right. Probation, anything else? All right. The court is going to grant the motion. The court is going to sentence you to 20 months in the state jail facility. Taking consideration 2025 CR 010938, 2025 CR 010939, and give you credit for any time served. Did you review the trial court certification of defendants' rights to appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it? All right, you have a limited right to appeal. That right to appeal is as it relates to the allegations in the motion, not the fact that you're on community supervision. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own. I'm sorry, and there's also no unsupervised contact with minors. All right, because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. If you have a question over what that is, you will need to speak to an attorney. Mr. Kellogg, I see that I had ordered for you sober support meetings. Is there still an alcohol or drug issue with you? All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to request for you the therapeutic community.
Thank you, Judge.
I don't have any jurisdiction to force you into the program or have them place you in the program, but they're going to see in the judgment that I recommend therapeutic community for you. Even though that's in the judgment, you're still going to have to ask for it. If you don't ask for it, they definitely will not consider you. Do you understand?
Yes, that's when I get to state jail, I ask.
For the therapeutic community and let them know you need it. And once you're released from custody after you serve your sentence, if you can't find a transition home or a place that can help you maintain your sobriety, if I'm still here, you come back here and I'll make sure to get you some help, okay?
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Good luck to you, okay?
Thanks,
You're
Judge.
welcome. Thank you.
In the end, the court hands down 20 months in state jail, emphasizing that even simple probation rules must be followed. The judge balances accountability with a chance for rehabilitation through treatment options. If you found this case insightful, like, comment, and subscribe for more courtroom breakdowns.
Court is calling 2025 CR 000933, State versus Abel Hernandez Jr. Could I have parties announced?
Ashley Jones for the state.
Charles Bunk for Mr. Hernandez Jr.
And are you Abel Hernandez Jr.?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, you received all discovery. Did you review it with your client?
I did. We did.
Court will find that the state is in compliance with discovery. Counsel, are there any applications?
No, Judge.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, did you review the true bill of indictment with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, do you waive the reading of the indictment?
We do.
State, are you proceeding on the indictment as presented?
We are not, Your Honor. The state is going to proceed on count 6 and waive the remaining counts.
No objections.
All right. So counts 1 through 5. And 7 are waived without objection.
Correct.
Yes, Your
Mr. Hernandez, did you review the court admonishments with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're charged with sexual assault of a child. That's a second-degree felony. Range of punishment is anywhere from 2 to 20 years in prison and up to $10,000 fine. If you have a plea with the state, the court does not have to follow your plea. If for any reason the court does not follow your plea and gives you more than you bargained for, the fact that you entered a plea will not be used against you and you will be allowed to withdraw your plea. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses. The state would call in the right to remain silent. By entering this plea, you're giving up those rights. Did you intend to give up those rights and enter into a plea in this case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, has your client been able to provide you with any defenses?
Yes, Judge.
Do you believe he has a rational as well as a factual understanding of the charges against him?
He absolutely does.
Do you believe he's currently competent and was legally sane at the time of the
I
offense?
certainly do.
Mr. Hernandez, has anyone threatened you, coerced you, or placed you in fear to get you to enter this plea?
No, ma'am.
Anyone promised you anything other than the plea?
No, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the way you've been represented?
Yes, sir.
If you're not a U.S. citizen, by entering this plea, you will be deported and denied naturalization. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived his right to jury trial. Did you review the plea bargain page with your attorney? Did you understand it?
Yes, Your Honor.
According to the plea, the state is proceeding on count 6. They're asking that your punishment be assessed at 7 years in the prison. There's a $1,500 fine. There are no applications. There's another case that will be taken in consideration. That's a juvenile case.
Yes, Your Honor.
There's an affirmative finding of family violence, Chapter 62 registration and no contact with the complainant. Do you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand with an affirmative finding of family violence, you're not allowed to be designated as primary custodial parent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that to be the entirety of your plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Yes, Judge.
State?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you review the waiver of appeal paragraph with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in both places?
Yes, Your Honor.
By signing that, you're waiving your right to appeal. The only items that can be appealed are written pretrial motions that have been filed, heard, and ruled upon by the court. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Counsel, are there any such motions? Then to count 6, how do you plead?
No contest.
State any evidence?
State Rocker States Exhibit 1 in all attachments.
No objection.
Did you review the waiver and stipulations with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it in all the appropriate places?
Yes, Your Honor.
Again, did you understand you have a right to jury trial, a right for you or your attorney to cross-examine and confront any witnesses the state would call in the right to remain silent?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did you understand that today the state will be presenting evidence in the form of witnesses' statements and police reports? But most importantly, there'll be no live testimony. Did you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will find that defendant has knowingly and voluntarily waived and consented to stipulation of testimony and stipulations. Court will accept into evidence states exhibits 1 and attachments and review the same. After reviewing states exhibits 1 and attachments, the court will find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, and the court will find you guilty. So why should I accept this plea?
Your Honor, we have discussed this plea, not only with the victim, but with the victim's family, and this is what they would like to proceed forward.
All right, and then are we proceeding with sentencing?
We're ready to proceed, Judge. We'd ask, the only thing we'd ask is he's been in jail for a year. We'd ask that you'd consider waiving the fine.
All right, so the cost that's being taken in consideration Does anyone have any type of number? Because when that goes in the system, it's not really gonna be in the system.
Yes, Your Honor. I do not have the cause number, but we want it memorialized on our plea paperwork. That is both parties' intentions.
All right, so if y'all will make sure that the other parties take care of that. How old are you?
21.
Oh, okay. I
Yes.
understand a little bit more now. All right, there's gonna be a $1,500 fine. Time and money will run concurrently. The court will sentence you to 7 years in the prison, give you credit for any time served. Take in consideration the juvenile case. There's an affirmative finding of family violence. There's Chapter 62 registration, that's lifetime registration, you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's to be no contact with the complainant. There's to be no residing in households with minors. And no contact with minors. Is there anything else with regards to sentencing?
No, Judge.
Not
All right, did you review the document entitled Trial Court Certification of Defendants' Rights to Appeal with your attorney? Did you understand it and sign it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because it's plea bargain agreement, because I followed your plea bargain agreement, and because you waived your right to appeal, you do not have the court's permission to appeal. Because this is a felony conviction, you're not allowed to own or possess any weapons or ammunition. And also, it's because it's an affirmative finding of family violence as well. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we can go off the record. You're young, but there's still no excuse for this. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
So when you go to prison, you had better try to internalize what you've done and better yourself from that. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. My understanding, there's victim impact. So what will happen is people will address you, okay? All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Savage, when you're set on the docket, you're set on the docket.
When they took my walker, I can't walk without risking paralyzing myself if I fall and I hit my head wrong. I have pre-floating vertebrae in my neck. They took my walker 2 weeks ago after an incident with the guard. And the guard lied. I now got new charges.
All right, so here's the thing, I'm not here to discuss your other cases, but when the court orders you to appear, you have to appear. And if there's an issue with you being in a walker or being in a wheelchair, just let them know that you need a wheelchair, but when I order you to appear, you have to appear, okay?
They tell them that,
Okay.
if I had the walker, I'd come.
Mhm.
They will give it to me.
All right,
If I may, Judge.
yes.
We had a plea worked out. You will recall, he sat back here last time when we were in court. We had a plea bargain resolved. The incident with the walker, I'm not sure what happened, but that has caused for a new case to be filed. The state is getting discovery and hopefully some videos of that I believe is going to clear up the new case.
Okay.
So I know the court has a plea deadline, and if you don't accept the plea, I'm hopeful that perhaps we can extend his plea deadline so I can get the discovery from the new case. And if it is what I hope it is, we still want to enter our plea and get this matter resolved. We certainly don't anticipate needing a trial. I'm hopeful that the new discovery is going to exonerate him, and we're going to go back to the plea we had set for today, or for whatever day we were supposed to be here.
So
So as soon as they're able to get this discovery,
Sent an email for it yesterday.
and
we'll
are
come-
you
we'll
on,
come right back and plea?
and are you on the new case as well?
Yes, I am.
All right. So what I'll do is I'm going to set this. Norma, set it for the last week that we're here in November.
Okay,
And then if you want him brought over sooner, he can be brought over.
absolutely, absolutely.
All right, what date?
I can do the 18th.
That's perfect.
All right, so here's my question. And I don't like to be involved in agreement.
Yes.
But, excuse me, there's no need to rub on him, separate. All right, so is it potentially a plea with applications or no applications?
There would be a plea that was a reduction to a misdemeanor that
So,
would,
so no applications. And the reason why I asked,
no application, no,
All
it's
right.
just it'll
and
it'll
the,
be a judgment satisfied on a misdemeanor.
the reason why I asked, because if there's no applications, then we won't need to bring him over. You all can
We could
do
do it by
it by
Zoom.
Zoom.
Correct.
All right, so Norma, if this case is gonna resolve itself on November 18th, then we can have him by Zoom. All right, is there anything else?
Nothing further, Judge.
So if your case is gonna be resolved, we'll just have you by Zoom. That way you won't have to come over. They will set you up at the jail
Yes, I have to
and
take
there'll be
that.
paperwork for you to sign over there, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, how can the medical staff there is abusing their authority? How can I get my walker back?
You'll have to talk to the deputies there. I will tell you, I really don't have any jurisdiction over walkers or anything. They may deem that the walker is some sort of, can be used as a weapon.
Well, they're of course I say
Yeah.
that, but I think, like, last time I went to TDC wouldn't accept me because I'm wheelchair transport only.
Mhm.
I'm supposed to be in a wheelchair, but the jail keeps taking my wheelchair and giving me a walker, which causes me more pain.
All right, so what we can do is, we'll make sure that they know that you need a wheelchair. And since they've already told you they're not gonna let you have a walker, and I'm not in charge of security over there, so I don't know the reason, but I will do what I can as far, if there's no objection,
None.
to see that you have access to a wheelchair.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Judge, but we'd be excused.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll be in touch.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing okay. Your attorney was here this morning before docket.
Yes,
He's
I have.
currently in jury trial.
Yes.
All right, Ms. Ferguson. Let's recall this for the last week in November or the week before our last week.
November 18th.
All right, so we're gonna have you back here November 18th. Are you employed?
Yes.
What is your work schedule?
I work dog breed, so I was actually, right now, I have a litter. I had to go feed them, but that's what I do for a living. I'll be breeding
All
dogs.
right, just out of curiosity, because people will say they do things. What type of certification do you have in dog breeding? Have you taken any classes or you just like, this is what I'm doing?
No, I've been doing it for a few years.
So have you taken any classes or you just like, this is what I'm doing?
No, I had to, I need to get my LLC for it. I hadn't.
No,
For-
the LLC is saying this is a business,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But my question is, have you had any type of certification in it, or you just said, you know what, this is a business, I'm doing it?
I guess just the people from when I started buying the dogs, I just learned from them. you
Well,
know?
might I suggest you watch some documentaries on breeding,
Okay.
right? And might I suggest that you perhaps go to the Humane Society? Because anytime you're working with animals, and I don't put human beings in the same category as
Yes.
animals, however, it takes patience
Yes.
and it takes science.
Yes.
So that's my suggestion to you, all right?
Okay.
So just sign the reset.
You can take there's a class for that though?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Let me just tell you, there's a class for everything.
Okay.
If people will use Google and use technology other than just taking pictures of food and to
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
look at me, I'm on vacation.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can find anything,
Yes.
all right?
Yes, ma'am.
But the key is, if you are doing that, it needs to be done humanely.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be seen as though this is a conveyor belt,
Yeah.
because animals.
I
are
mean,
li-
I don't like me. I only breed the dog like the girl dogs ones. I'm not like,
Okay,
some people overly do it. That's like, it's
because
not right.
here's my thing.
There's like.
They're living, breathing entities, right?
Yes, exactly.
They have feelings.
And then like me, I've had one for at least 6-7 years. And she was my baby. I only bred her once. And after that, I never bred her again.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, that's what I do. And I have no friends with bulldogs. So, they're popular. Everybody
Mhm.
Everybody likes those little
And you know
dogs.
what I've seen on documentaries? People will say, oh, I like them with the stubby tails. And so then they clip tails. I'm like,
No,
why are you
I
doing
don't,
that?
I don't do none of that.
Clipping
No,
ears.
no.
And
clip.
you know, if you look historically, the bulldog, that's not the way a bulldog
No,
is supposed to look.
Well,
That's why
the
they
ones
can't
you're talking
breathe.
about with the clip ears are the bullies. They're
Yeah.
like the pit bulls.
Mhm.
Look,
But even the, what they call the English bulldog,
yes,
that's not the way it's supposed to look. That dog can barely breathe and walk because
Yeah.
people are breathing in a certain way and
they're inbreeding.
yes.
They're all kind of. I don't do that. I just make sure they're a full bred Frenchie and another full bred Frenchie. Yeah, I don't like that either. I'm against that. I'm like, it's
Okay. Well, I mean, do your research and see if there are classes for you to take.
okay.
All right. So once you sign the reset form, you're excused.
Yes, Sean.
All right. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. All right. The court is calling 2025 CR 001789 State versus Diego Chavez. Can I have parties announced for the record for the state?
Guillermo Lara for Mr. Chavez, Your Honor, we're ready.
And are you Mr. Chavez?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You entered a plea of guilty on September 8th. PSI and TAP evaluation was completed. According to your plea bargain agreement, the state is recommending deferred adjudication. Have both parties had a chance to review the PSI and TAP evaluation?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
All right, anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor, I spoke with Mr. Chavez earlier today, and I did discuss some of the recommendations that were made by probation, specifically the fact that they want Mr. Chavez to have some type of outpatient treatment with his insurance company right now that he has. He has a very good job working for Tesla, well, as a subcontractor for Tesla. And that opportunity would give him the opportunity to show the court that not only could he comply with those conditions that probation is asking of him, he also recognized, and I did discuss with him, the DWI issue and the alcohol issue. He did speak to me candidly and say, I didn't think that I had a problem, but as far as the recommendation for probation, he sees how they could come to the court and suggest, look, if at the time of the incident, you had alcohol in your system, not only did you have alcohol in your system, you have a previous DWI, that is also something that would indicate that a DWI program potentially could be helpful for Mr. Chavez in succeeding on this deferred adjudication. And we would ask this court to consider that Mr. Chavez is willing not only to do the recommendations suggested by probation, but he's asking this court to give him an opportunity to continue with his work because, again, he has 3 children. He is behind on his child support, Your Honor. From the PSR, I did ask him, and he did verify that he is behind that $6,000 on his child support. He did indicate that now that he has this job and he's working full time, that gives him an opportunity to not only chip away at that amount, but also to give a little bit more to that child support amount that he's paying for his child. We asked this court to consider the fact that he does not have any prior felony convictions, Your Honor, and we would ask this court to follow the agreement with the prosecutor in this case, Your Honor, for deferred adjudication.
All right, you want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Diego Chavez.
All right, so what did you do wrong?
I had a firearm when I should have not had it with me at the time, and I believe that I'm not a bad person, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to prove that I deserve a second chance and that I am a good person.
But no. You're saying you had a gun and you should not have had a gun. Because in the PSI report, the complainant is stating that you're not taking any account of your actions. So you're not here today because you had a gun, right?
Right.
So why are you here today?
I'm here today because I was stopped for they had accused me of pointing a gun at two.
Well, here's the thing. Let me stop you right there. You entered a plea of guilty. So your attorney will tell you and I've been a defense attorney before. Either you're falling on the sword or you're not. Now, your attorney has reviewed the PSI report. I'm assuming you've reviewed the PSI report. And let me just tell you, the complainant on page 4, did you read what the complainant said about you?
Yes, ma'am.
So why are you here? Because the complainant says you had no remorse, zero remorse, and that you put several people's lives at risk, including a senior living facility that was nearby. So why are we here?
I'm here to take action in anything I need to do. I believe that
No, I mean, you're here to take action if I follow this agreement and place you on probation. But why would I even, let's start here. Why would I even put you on probation? Because it seems from what you're telling me, the police just came out of the blue, pulled you over, and they pulled you over and you had a weapon in your car. It seems to me, if that's the case, then maybe you should be in misdemeanor court, not in felony court. So there has to be something that has occurred for you to be in felony court, other than, because your attorney is saying you don't have any felonies. So other than you're just driving around with a weapon, because if you're just driving around with a weapon, then maybe, depending on the facts, maybe it's unlawfully carrying of a weapon, which is a misdemeanor, but you're here for a felony. So I'm trying to figure out mentally, why do you think you are here?
I believe I was at the wrong place at the wrong time, and I wasn't trying to intend to hurt anyone in any kind of way. And just in the position that I was in, it makes me look like a bad person, but
Here's the thing. People always say they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. And honestly, when you think about it, if somebody is at, hypothetically, if somebody is at a fast food restaurant and somebody pulls a gun on them, they're not in the wrong place at the right time. They're there just trying to enjoy their life, and somebody comes in and pulls a weapon on them, right?
yes, ma'am.
So I have yet to think of a scenario in my head where people are at the wrong place at the wrong time. Unless this is Star Trek and we're doing a time continuum. Otherwise, you were at this location according to what you stipulated to. There was a disagreement or something, and you put a gun on somebody. That's why we're here.
Yes, sir.
We're not here because you were driving around in a vehicle and you just had a weapon and that was it. We're here for that. Why is it so hard for you to say that?
I guess my wording, I shouldn't have took the action how I did,
And what action did you take that was an inappropriate action?
that I had a weapon on me that, I mean, in the situation that I was in, I felt that my life was in danger.
Oh, then maybe we shouldn't be here. Maybe you should be at a jury trial and you should be arguing self-defense. See, here's the problem. You have pled guilty to this offense.
Yes, ma'am.
When you plead guilty to something, you are saying, yes, I did it. Now, sometimes it's not a guilty verdict. It's you're at a jury trial, you're saying, yes, I did it, but let me give you my self-defense issue, or let me give you my justification. I did it, but this is why I shouldn't be punished for it, because legally I had a right to do what I did. So this is what we're going to do.
Yes, ma'am.
We're going to come back, and counsel, you can appear by Zoom. We're going to come back at 1:30 and you need to think about this, because what I'm telling you is, according to the PSI report, the complainant is saying you shown zero remorse. And right now it appears to the court, and I may be wrong, sometimes people get very nervous. It appears to the court that you're not accepting any responsibility for anything, even though you've pled guilty to it. And once you pled guilty, what I can tell you, you all have an agreement that you receive a form of probation. You know, either I'll follow it or I won't follow it. So now is not the time to hedge your bets, right? You've gone past the point of jury trial. Now, what I can tell you, if I don't follow this, then the fact that you entered a plea, it can't be used against you. Okay?
Yes,
All right, so I'll see y'all back at 1:30.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. All right, court is calling 2024 CR 009-618 State versus Brandon Lynn Banks. Can I have parties announced for the record?
Lauren Espinoza for the state.
Matt Stolhasky for Mr. Banks.
And are you Mr. Banks?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Did you review the document entitled Motion to Revoke Community Supervision with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Did you understand it?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Are you the same Brandon Lynn Banks who was placed on community supervision in 2024 CR 009618 for the offense of evading arrest, detention with previous conviction on April 8, 2025 for a term of 3 years? Is that you?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
All right, state.
Violated condition number 4 in Bear County, Texas. The defendant Brandon Lynn Banks did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of June and July 2025 in violation of condition number 4.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
It's true.
State will waive the remaining.
Any objection?
No, ma'am.
And then, Your Honor, state would pass, or I guess the agreement between.
Oh, just 1 second. All right, no problem. Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 4, the court could find it true, grant the motion, and sentence you up to 2 years in the state jail facility?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
And let me see if there's no fine. Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Court will find violation of condition number 4 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
Yes, Judge, the proposed agreement is to deny state's motion, continue on probation, alter and amend to include bi-weekly reporting, IO, and mixed supervision.
All right, so I have some questions. So, and correct him if I'm wrong. Since he was placed on probation in April 2025, you didn't see him in June and July. I'm making an assumption that he really hasn't reported except for maybe in May.
You reported in May?
I reported one time and then, I just lost track and didn't have a ride. I ain't gonna make no excuse. I just didn't go.
All right, Ms. Abrams,
Yes, Judge. The last office visit was May 15, 2025.
I just don't think you're a good candidate. I mean, why was he not reporting what was going on?
Your Honor, he's on Aloud. He's on some pretty heavy mental health drugs. He didn't get his treatment. I think he takes a shot every 6 months.
Yes, sir.
And he didn't get the next one and he kind of just went off the rails. I've met with his wife. She's assured me she can, she can get him back on and make this go right, especially if he's got to report twice a week and on these other extra supervisionary, is that a word?
Okay, you know what? A word was not a word till somebody created it, so we'll go with it.
With these extra supervisory things that he's got, I think we can get him going down the road in the right direction.
Probation, what do you recommend?
Judge, that's the recommendation that the state represented to the court is what's on the court summary.
All right. I'm going to give you a choice. These are the only 2 choices you have. There are no other choices. Number 1, I can revoke you and I will sentence you to 180 days at the state jail facility. You get credit for any time you served. Number 2, I'll continue you, but this probation is not going to be easy. Probation, he's going to need a MIC evaluation.
The tax evaluation was already done and the MIC evaluation was already completed. I believe those were done before he was released.
Okay.
And so the TAP recommendation is for intensive outpatient treatment, PUAs, and sober support meetings, and mental health evaluation, and MIC was recommended.
All right. So those are your 2 choices. I can continue you, or either I will revoke you and sentence you to 180 days in the Bear County Jail. If it were legally possible for me to offer him a 1244, I would, but
Yes, ma'am.
I prefer to go on probation and maybe that can help me straighten out my stuff and keep me in line and get me going in the right direction, man.
okay. So, tell me where have you been? What have you been doing?
And then really, I've just been sitting really at my mom's, back and forth to my mom's, and I mean, just trying to pull stuff together and get medication, I guess. I mean, but that's preferably why I want to stay on the probation, so I can go to get my mental health and get my medication and me and my wife, we finally got a place to live. And
Just one second. So states you can be excused. I'm not gonna place him under oath because I'm just trying to figure out what he needs.
Yes, ma'am,
Alright,
I
so-
appreciate that.
So what's going on with you and your wife?
No, it's good. I mean, it just, man, we were struggling out there, you know what I'm saying? And then now we finally found a place to stay and I mean, I think that probation, though preferably, yeah, I usually would take the 180 days, but that probably wouldn't help me in the end. So I really want the help in the end, man.
Alright, so are you living with your wife or are you living with your mom?
No, I'm living with my wife. Me and my wife live with my brother and his, well, I guess you say common law wife.
Is there just too many people in that household
I
though?
know it's actually just them two and us two, but now
No children?
no children, my children are with their mom and their grandmothers.
Alright, so what are we doing with your mental health? How have you been doing with that since you haven't been reporting? What's been going with that?
Well, I mean, I can't, I don't know, I really can't give, I say I'm good. I mean.
But I mean, have you been taking your shots or no?
Well, no, I mean, I ain't had one in, probably about 8 months, 9 months.
So have they been giving you anything at the jail?
No, ma'am, I mean, they asked to see me and I told them, man, I was good, cause I mean, I figured I'd be done in Monday and I probably wouldn't even get it anyway, you know what I'm saying? But I go right over here to, that's right here, this little office over here.
Mhm.
And, I mean, the medication, it really kind of pushes me off. Maybe I need something a little bit mellower or something, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing with the regards to the medications. Nobody will know if there's an issue with medications if you're not taking them
Yes,
and if
ma'am.
you don't tell them.
Yes, ma'am, I understand that, ma'am.
All right, so where you're staying, I can tell you, I've required that probation complete field visits, so they're gonna be field visits.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so. And probation, there's not a need for an extension, is there?
No.
All right, this is what the court will do. The court is finding violation of condition number 4 true. The court will deny alternate amend conditions to include bi-weekly reporting for 2 months. And let me explain to you why I'm doing that. I'm doing that so that you can get on track with your medications. It'll take him about 30 days, they tell me, for it to get in his system. And then 30 days thereafter to make sure you're on track with that. I'm gonna ask for field visits 1 time per month until further notice. And we'll do the mid caseload. And probation, do you want to do the intensive outpatient treatment? All right, and intensive outpatient treatment with probation. Is there anything else?
No, sir.
Is there anything else you need from the court?
Oh, ma'am.
All right. And I'm gonna say no residing in households with minors. Now, let me just tell you, that may change, but you're gonna have to show me something by being consistent and on your medication.
Yes, ma'am.
And the people who live in that household, you need to let them know that probation is gonna be doing visits and they're gonna have to allow them in.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
All right, we can go off record. Here's the thing. Mental health. It's dicey in the sense that if you don't let anybody know what's going on with you, they're not gonna know what's going on.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't follow your medical regimen in the medications, you're gonna fall off, right?
Yes, ma'am, I own that, all the way on that.
All right, and if there's some sort of side effects or anything, you gotta let somebody know.
Yes, ma'am.
Speak to probation, stay in communication with them. If you feel they're not addressing your issues, you can always come back to the court and address them with me.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, is there anything else you need?
No, ma'am.
All right, good luck to you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Your Honor, and thank you for the condolences.
Sure.
In the end, the judge chooses rehabilitation over punishment, tightening probation instead of sending him to jail. But this comes with serious conditions, treatment, monitoring, and zero room for mistakes. This is his second chance. If you found this case powerful, like, comment, and subscribe for more Courtroom.